secondary vitreous. Alright, so here we'll discuss about the secondary vitreous. We already understood the primary vitreous. So the secondary vitreous, it starts to develop by the 9th week. Okay, right? So the 9th week, that means still it is in the embryonic stage. It starts to develop in the 9th week, and the secondary vitreous becomes the mature vitreous. That means whatever the vitreous all of us are having now in our eye are the secondary vitreous. Okay, so what happens to the primary vitreous? So this, when the secondary vitreous forms, okay, that secondary vitreous eventually or fills the globe and compacts the primary vitreous. So when the secondary vitreous is formed, it just compresses the primary vitreous, and secondary vitreous is formed around the primary vitreous. Okay, so when you look at this picture now, this is the first one, the primary vitreous. You can really see that when the eye is developing, the structure is not fully developed. You can see the blood vessels coming towards the crystalline lens. So that was the primary vitreous. When the secondary vitreous came, that is the adult vitreous, that formed around the primary vitreous, so that it compressed the primary vitreous at the center. Okay, but you can see that hyaloid canal or Cloquet's canal is still there. So that is about secondary vitreous. So when the secondary vitreous formed, the primary vitreous was compressed and dissolved inside the secondary vitreous, and secondary vitreous later will develop as the adult vitreous. Right. So now we will see what is tertiary vitreous. Tertiary vitreous, right? It begin to develop at the 6th month of embryonic stage. Okay, so at the 6th month, that means it is at a later period, the tertiary vitreous is forming. So what is tertiary vitreous? Okay, the fibrous structure of the secondary vitreous condenses and forms the zonule. So you can see it over here. Okay, this is the secondary vitreous, and this tertiary vitreous is just forming near to the ciliary muscle. Okay, why? What was the function of the tertiary vitreous? Okay, in the fibrous or the fibers in the secondary vitreous is converted or condensed to form the zonules. So we all know what is zonules, right? Zonules are the or suspensory ligaments are connecting links between the crystalline lens and the ciliary body. So the tertiary vitreous, okay, that forms the zonules. Okay, you can see this green thing here, and even here in this early development you can see that very early stage of tertiary vitreous is developing here, and later this zonules merge with the lens capsule and the ciliary body. So this zonules that is formed from the tertiary vitreous will connect to the crystalline lens and will connect to the ciliary body. So that is about tertiary vitreous. Alright, we have come into the last slide here, okay, about the functions of vitreous humor. Basically there are three functions. One is the storage area. It is acting as the storage area for the metabolites for retina and lens. Now we know what is metabolites, right? Okay, the nutrients that is needed for the metabolic activities. Metabolic activities are activities that is happening within the cells of our body to produce energy, right? So an important function of vitreous is act as a storage area, okay, for metabolic activities, or storage area for metabolic products, which is needed for retina and lens. You see, it is connected to the retina at one side, connected to the lens at the other side. So the metabolic activities or the contents that is needed for metabolic activities are stored in the stored in the vitreous area. Second function, it protects the retina, right? It is working as a shock absorber. Even if you have an injury to the eye, or if you are getting a small injury to the eye, still the retina is protected, because the vitreous humor absorbs the shock. Okay, that is the meaning of shock absorber. And thirdly, it provides a clear media for light transmission. So we know that it is a transparent structure. Now you remember why the hyaloid blood vessels, okay, during the primary vitreous is absorbed, because the vitreous need to be transparent. Now if you have the blood vessels still remaining, the primary vitreous blood vessels, that is the hyaloid arteries, if it still remains there, the vitreous cannot be perfectly transparent. So that was the reason at one stage of the development, okay, before the baby was taken birth, the hyaloid vessels are dissolved or it disappears. Okay, so because of that, and the vitreous is working as a clear media for light transmission. So with that, we are ending this presentation of Vitreous. It is not a very big presentation. It is a smaller presentation, but in each slide there are a lot of information. Okay, so I urge everyone to take your time, listen to each of the voices. And again, I encourage, if you have any doubts, you need to communicate with me through WhatsApp, right, either into my personal number or in the group. Okay, so see you then until we come back with another presentation.